What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Saturday Stock Talk. I'm glad to see some people already joining us. Last week was super exciting, and I see that there's already some chats in the chat room here. So this is great, you guys. So I just wanted to go over a few things. Boy, oh boy, has this week been insane. It's just been like a roller coaster. The market's been down for the most part in October, and I think that's usually the case. But this last week in particular has been up and down, up and down. So I just think, we're in for some sort of a correction here. I don't know. Let's talk about it. So the whole point for this live stream is just to create a good conversation and actually try and get some good, questions, open discourse, if you will, and just try and have a healthy conversation about pretty much anything investing or stock related. So Pidgey Mofu gave me a nice smiley face here, so thank you for that. You're a regular viewer and a regular subscriber. Couple of things I had on the agenda, and maybe just to kick off some conversations between you guys. We have the Tesla Model 3. So Elon Musk, who happens to have some Twitter fingers lately over the past couple of months, he finally settled with the SEC and all that. But he's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you will, because no matter what promises or what he happens to say or do, there's always going to be haters on each side of all of his decisions. So perfect example is that I believe he lowered the price of the Model 3 to $45,000, and that should be $35,000 after tax incentives. I believe that's a federal tax incentive, so it could be nationwide. And it looks like people are mad because they were promised lower prices, and it's just all over the place. Oh, hey, how you doing, Worthmore? He says, hey, Marco, I'm taking my son to a birthday party. Just popping in to say hi. Hello. I don't know if noon on a Saturday is the best time to have these live streams. Maybe I'll adjust. But yeah, thank you so much for popping in. Yeah, the reason I chose noon Eastern time is because I figured, it's 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It's 11 a.m. in Chicago or Central Standard Time. And it's noon, maybe people are eating lunch, they want to jump in, watch and contribute to the live stream. And also over in Europe, if you're in, Great Britain or that area, they're 5 hours ahead of the East Coast. So it's 5 p.m. over there. If you're in, Russia, I think they're 7 hours ahead. So we got a global audience here with WhiteBoard Finance. I'm just trying to be considerate of pretty much everyone all over the world. I'm on Eastern Standard Time, and I figured noon would just be a good, middle point for everyone. But let me know if your guys' days are more busy on Saturdays. I'd be happy to have these on a Sunday. So let's see here. What else do we have on the agenda to talk about? So this isn't stock market related, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about because it is a big dollar amount. So the Mega Millions jackpot is actually at $1.6 billion. So I guess there were no winners in Friday's drawing. So the last time the jackpot was won, I believe, was in July. And I think an office out of California, they just pulled together their money and they won the $543 million jackpot. So that no one's won it since July. So my question to you guys is, what would you do if you won $1.6 billion? I just think that's an insane amount of money. Even if you decide to take the lump sum and get knocked off for taxes and all that stuff, you're still probably left with 900 million, 800 million. Like, what would you do with that kind of money? I think that's pretty insane. I think you can build any kind of house, drive whatever kind of car you want, and buy whatever boat or any luxury that you want, and still be, still have multi generational wealth. So next on the docket, I wanted to touch on, are we heading into a correction, or is this kind of just like the October blues? So historically, the stock market hasn't done too well in October. And essentially, I think we may be seeing some echoes of that. I mentioned that last week as well. But yeah, we've had a crazy couple of weeks in the market. So if you guys want to contribute in the chat, feel free to do so. It looks like we have about 7 people on the stream. Last week, we had about 40. So I'm not sure if people are just more busy or they didn't have this planned out, which is fine. But please let me know in the chat on the side what better times work for you guys. I'm happy to have an audience here with everyone. So it looks like the chat number is starting to grow here to 10 people, which is great. Feel free to contribute in the chat box. And then finally, one of my most popular videos was the best marijuana stocks to buy in 2018. So marijuana stocks, they've been going nuts, you guys. It looks like everyone is really buying into the hype. I personally think it's going to be a legitimate industry. So it's definitely worth taking a closer look into. Proper 3D says dividend versus growth. Can you elaborate just a little bit? I have an idea of what you're asking, but I'm not sure. I think your question is, do you go the dividend play versus, the growth equity play? So go, a little bit more risky growth stocks, kind of like your Apples of the world and your Alphabets and your Googles, or do you kind of go with the dividend route with your, Johnson and Johnson and your Staples or McDonald's that have really, paid those high dividends? That's a good question, because I will be starting a membership group, and one of my portfolios within that stock membership group is going to be a dividend type of portfolio. So I'm investing in long-term blue chip companies that I really believe in, and the dividends will definitely be in that membership group. Just so you guys know, I started a weekly stock pick newsletter. So if you look in the link below, I'm not sure if you can see that live or not, but whether this video posts after or not, click that link. It's actually just subscribing to an email newsletter. I send out a stock pick weekly. What I want to do is just get on top of mind with you guys. Just, hey, WhiteBoard Finance, he's making good picks. Let's try and, spread the word, spread the love. There's a lot of channels growing on YouTube, and my channel is definitely doing great as well. But I just want to connect a little bit more with you guys. So with Proper 3D, he says, I'm new here, curious which you prefer. So me personally, that's a good question. Part of my portfolio definitely has growth stocks in it. So one of my favorite ETFs is VUG. This is the Vanguard Growth Fund. It's an ETF of just obviously growth stocks. I know Apple's in there. I know Alphabet's in there. It's been doing very well for me, especially over this 9.5-year bull run. And also dividends. I did have McDonald's in my portfolio for a while. I did have Altria, even though Altria, it's a tobacco company. The numbers are so good, but morally, I'm big on ethics and big on morals. Do I support big tobacco? I mean, I invested in their company for a little bit. I believe I sold that. I don't know if I sold my entire position. I need to look. But Colton, hey Colton, thanks for joining us again. He asks thoughts on the 20% down payment for the first home. Obviously avoids PMI, but is there more to it than that? So very good question. I'm actually in the process of buying a house, most likely this upcoming spring. I did have a house under contract a few months ago after I came back from Europe. The reason we walked away is because there was flood damage and some mold in the basement. We didn't want to mess with that. We're planning on having kids. I don't want to mess around with mold. So to answer your question, I absolutely believe in 20% down, just because I don't want to throw away money for no reason. In my opinion, PMI is just throwing away money for no reason. You get no benefit out of it. It's just a requirement per the mortgage loan documents. So ultimately, if you don't have 20% down, try and put as much down as possible to get to that 20%. I know some people will let you refinance. So once your equity or once you have enough money invested in the house reaches that 20% threshold, you can refinance and get rid of that PMI. So very good question. Now, the only situation where I wouldn't care about the PMI is if I was house hacking. So you guys may have heard about house hacking. This is excellent if you're like in your early 20s or looking to buy your first property outside of college, or you just graduated high school, whatever. House hacking is essentially when you live in a multi-unit dwelling. So it can be a duplex, a side-by-side duplex. It can be an up and down duplex. It can be a 3-unit, a 4-unit. So what I would do is, in that case, is run your numbers. If you can get the property for a cheap amount, I wouldn't even put down 20%. I may even use an FHA loan for my first-time homebuyers loan. You put down 3.5%. So say, for example, the property is $100,000. There's 2 units side by side. You live in one, you rent out the other. And that way your renter or your tenant is paying for the PMI, they're paying for your mortgage, and they're also discounting, your rent, if you will, your mortgage. So some people can live for free. Some people get a deeply discounted mortgage. Check that out, FHA loan. If the house is $100,000, you put down 3.5%, you put down $3,500, and you control $100,000 worth of real estate, if that makes sense. And when you decide to move out, now you have 2 units you can rent out, and you're either breaking even or you're making a profit, but you still control that real estate, if that makes sense. So good question, Colton. Colton also asked thoughts on this week's marijuana stocks. It's been a crazy ride. I mean, I was invested. If you go look at my video from late 2017, it was, top 3 marijuana stocks to invest in for 2018. I made 100% on some of those stocks, sold off that position, and kept some of my position as well. So I'm happy. I believe in the industry. I think it's going to be here for the long term. It may even become, a little brother to the alcohol industry. I think more people are becoming educated on the benefits of marijuana versus alcohol. I mean, I don't smoke marijuana. I have a job. I don't consume THC. But, at the end of the day, some people don't want to drink alcohol. Proper 3D goes, I can't invest in cancer either, bro. So he's referring back to the Altria comment. So, I mean, that's just one example. There's, you don't have to necessarily support big tobacco. There's a bunch of companies out there that pay really good dividends, like utilities companies. There's a bunch of companies out there. I just recommend using a stock screener, and that way you can find out what percentage of dividend you want. The nice thing about investing with dividend stocks is that ultimately, say for example, you have like 100 grand in your portfolio, and you're making like 8% on the dividends. That's 8% on your 100 grand. And if that 100 grand keeps growing, you're just making a higher monthly or quarterly payment, or biannually. It just depends on when those dividends are paid off, or paid out, excuse me. Jay Busquet, hi Marco. I'm thinking about investing for the first time with Robinhood. Any tips on what to invest in to start with to get a feel for it? So I'd recommend, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to invest in, but Robinhood is a great platform. I use it sometimes for my own personal trading. Ultimately, at your age, I don't know how old you are, but if you're a younger guy, I mentioned this last week, try and have a portfolio of, 80% equities, 20% bonds. Equities just means stocks. It all depends. You got to do your own research, man. I know that's a very weak response, but you have to do your own research. I can't sit here and hold your hand. If you are interested in receiving weekly stock updates, check out the link below. I'm doing a free weekly newsletter. My portfolio, the best way to describe it is kind of like a value stock portfolio, along with some ETFs, along with some bonds. So I mentioned this last week. I'm 30 years old. I'm not like old by any stretch of the imagination, even though it may sound old to some of the young bucks in the live stream. But, I'm starting to gravitate a little bit more towards bonds. I mean, nothing significant. I'm still equities heavy. But if you are a younger guy, I recommend maxing out your Roth IRA 100%. So if the limit is $5,500 a year, which it has been for the past couple of years, absolutely max out your Roth IRA. Put that money away. In 30 years, you'll be a millionaire. I'll tell you that right now. So don't quote me on that. I'm not an investment advisor, but that's, if you do the math, all the calculators, by the time you're 55, 60, you'll have $1 million in the bank, just due to compounding interest. So in terms of answering the second part of your question, any tips on what to invest in to start with to get a feel for it? Like I said, just immerse yourself. Maybe even create a mock portfolio for a couple months. But what I mean by mock portfolio is just a fake portfolio with no real money. Yahoo Finance has a great mock portfolio. And just research companies that you would invest in today and see how they do a couple months from now. That way you can really get a feel for, if you're comfortable risking that kind of money. Thank you for the question, Jay. I appreciate the question. Proper 3D, if you can get Roth IRA, do not use Robinhood. Yeah, it all depends. I mean, if you want to invest in individual stocks, commission free, I mean, Robinhood is definitely a great choice. I have Vanguard for my Roth IRA, but I definitely use Robinhood. I've played around with M1 Finance. I may do a review on that platform as well. Abdul Khan, hey Abdul, how you doing? I remember you being here last week, so thanks for joining. So yeah, all good questions, you guys. And I understand that my audience is, a little bit younger, probably early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, right around there. I just think it depends on where you're at in life. My personal opinion is max out the Roth IRA first. Make sure that you have, if you're in Colton's situation, put down that 20% on the home, even if it's a condo or whatever. Avoid unnecessary expenses. So ultimately, that PMI, in my opinion, that's throwing away money. So let's take a look at It's a couple of stocks here that I have pulled up. I'm going to go to what's been trending a little bit. Let's take a look at, sorry, it's loading here, Apple. So Apple is actually up 1.5% at close with October 19th, 4 p.m. That was yesterday. Right now they're at $219, and the target price for all the analysts that I'm seeing, they have Apple going to $237 with a lot of buy rankings. However, I do want to reiterate that there are also a lot of hold rankings. So I have proprietary software here that allows me to see what analysts are ranking, who's buying it, who's holding it, who's recommending a sell. And most of the target prices that they have on Apple is for $237 per share. So they still feel that there's an 8% upside on Apple. What are your guys' thoughts about that? Does anyone else have any feelings or any thoughts about Apple as a stock right now? And yeah, just feel free to chat. Feel free to contribute. If someone's chatting, I'll just keep blabbering here. But I do appreciate the questions. It keeps the live stream fresh, and it helps you get free advice. So I think the power rankings in tech, the reason I brought up Apple is I still think Apple is on the top of the list. I mean, they're a $1 trillion company. Their market cap is huge. They have a ton of cash. I think that if it's valued as a consumer company, it would be valued much higher. But we all know that Apple is a tech company. So right now it's cheaper than the average stock in the S&P, and also it's cheaper than consumer product stocks, even though they have been slower to grow. So I think their subscription model for service business is great. I'm trying to create a subscription model for my own stock course. I promise it won't be expensive. It'll definitely be worth it. There's going to be a long-term hold portfolio. So this isn't going to be a get-rich kind of a subscription service where I'm buying one day, I'm selling one day. Oh, GoPro is up, GoPro is down. Like that's not how you invest, unless you're a day trader or a swing trader, which I'm not. So yeah, Apple's going to be at the top of the list. I may even recommend them for November, but we'll see. Let's see here. David Wynn says long-term hold, feel 250 is possible for 2018. So I'm assuming you're talking about Apple. Thank you for contributing, David. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about here? Let me pull it up. So I'm trying to keep this live stream somewhat organized, just so I'm not talking out my rear end or just blabbering. So next in tech, I recommended this for October of 2018 is Salesforce. So they have a ton of, speaking about a subscription-based model, that's pretty much what Salesforce is. They have good, better, best pricing, if you will. I sold CRM. Salesforce is the best CRM, hands down. There's SAP. SAP is a good company. Microsoft is a great company. It's a longtime favorite in the WhiteBoard Finance portfolio. But for me right now, Salesforce is up there, and I don't know if the price, let me pull it up real quick. I don't think it's reflective of what the company should be worth, in my opinion. Let me see here. So ticker symbol CRM, we're talking about Salesforce. It's down about 1.5% on October. Right now it's at $140 per share. However, all the analysts that I'm seeing, there's 26 analysts that recommend Salesforce as a buy. There's 2 as a hold. And the upside, you guys, listen to this. They're predicting 24.86% upside to $175 a share over the next year. So when I say those target prices, I'm talking about over the next year or 1 year horizon. Joe M says, is this channel about swing trading? Not really. I do give monthly stock recommendations, and I am doing a weekly stock subscription, weekly stock email where I kind of say, hey, I'm looking at this stock. I'll give a high level analysis of it. I'll say why I'm looking at it, whether it's going to go up or down, and what I think the future is going to be with the target price. But I don't necessarily swing trade. Like I don't have time for it, you guys. I mean, there's definitely opportunities where I kind of it's arbitrage, if you will. So if I know that like Salesforce is a great company and I see their stock go down 3, 4, 5, 6%, yeah, I'll definitely buy into it for the short term and then sell it maybe a month later when it goes back to where it should be, in my opinion. So yeah, in that regard, I guess you can call me a swing trader, but that's not what I specialize in. I highly believe in value investing. So finding good underpriced companies that's going to be in a 3 to 5 year horizon time frame. And I've made good returns over the course of my investing life. So let's see here. Autumn Meadows. Hey, Autumn, how you doing? She asked about marijuana stocks. Rudy's asking about cannabis stocks. So if you guys remember, I created a course on how to invest in marijuana stocks. That was a collaboration with Ryan Scribner and myself. And that course was awesome because a lot of people made a lot of money off that course. We were talking about stocks that have skyrocketed since the time of that recording. And also, to reference this again, my most popular video on this channel is top 3 stocks to buy in 2018. And I made 100% on some of those trades, you guys. So the only reason I didn't invest more, and I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for not doing this, is that I was trading through Vanguard at the time, and marijuana stocks were considered not only foreign because I'm in the United States, and those were Canadian stocks at the time. I mean, they still are, but so I was getting hit with like a foreign investing fee, a pink sheets fee, like all these fees. I was just like, oh man, is it really worth investing this much? Even though I believed in the companies. And now I'm kind of kicking myself because, legalization is happening, and, the industry, I've said this multiple times, I really do believe in the industry. So when you guys say, marijuana stocks, question mark, cannabis stocks, question mark, try and elaborate a little bit. I do appreciate you commenting, but, try and drill down your questions a little bit more. So Juso M, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Hi, man. I'm a young investor from Finland. How you doing? I would like to know your thoughts about Visa stock. Would you recommend it to hold for 3 to 5 years? Yeah, absolutely. Visa is actually in my portfolio with blockchain and with everything else coming out now. They're going to be definitely a top adopter of blockchain technology. And let's be honest, credit cards aren't going anywhere. It may become different to where, it may be on your phone. It'll be like, oh, go up to the cash register and just swipe or tap your phone rather than swiping a physical card. But yeah, Visa is great. They're innovative. I think their management team is run well, and I think the company's run well as well. Become a better you. Happy to see you back on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. Nice seeing you again. You always comment on my videos, which I appreciate. Salvi 236. I opened a small position in Canopy Growth. However, I'm not a swing or day trader. I'm in it for the long term. Good. That's my philosophy, you guys. So if you do decide to join me, whether it's my weekly stock picks or the membership group that I'm going to be launching here, those are all, not all, but most are going to be long-term stock picks, and I've seen the most success over that. I mean, slow and steady really does win the race. You have to know when to, pick your battles if you want to be a swing trader or a day trader. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some like short-term trades in that group, and there's also going to be some long-term holds. But ultimately, I'm really excited to launch that. Let's see. So yeah, thank you for the comment, Salvi. Autumn Meadows, Aurora, Canopy. Let's take a look at those. Just so I'm not talking out my butt here. Aurora, cannabis. Okay. So when I recommended them back in 2017, let's see here. Yeah, it was definitely when it started to pop off. That was in November 2017. It popped off to about $13 Canadian, dropped down in the summer a couple months ago back to 6, and now it's back up to 14. So I sold off Aurora after I made my money in it. I haven't been following them too crazy. Let's click on news here, see what's going on. So Aurora Cannabis stock leads sector higher after news. It will start trading on the New York Stock Exchange. That's right. I did read about this on Market Watch. That's right. So yeah, so it's going to start trading on the American stock market here. So maybe it'll be cheaper to get into, and and it'll also give it that that air of, oh, I'm legit. I'm trading on the NYSE rather than being like pink sheets and stuff like that. So I don't know. I haven't looked into this one in a while. I haven't looked at their numbers. But it was definitely a big player a year ago, and it still seems to be. Let's see, Canopy Growth. So Canopy really popped off for me. This is the one where I made like 100% returns. So I recommended it. I recommended it right when I launched that video. That's when I opened up my position, and I sold it in like January, and definitely made 100% there. I think I was in it for like 13, 14 bucks, and it popped off almost to 30, and then I got rid of it. It seems to have just crept up. It's doing well. It was at 50 bucks at one point. Now it's at 50 again, or 46, close enough. What I will say is, these are long-term holds. because you have to compare these almost to like alcohol companies, if you will, almost like a Constellation Brands type of a thing. So yeah, if you're asking about what do I feel about Canopy, is that they're definitely a leader, if not the biggest player in the industry, and that's a long-term hold for me. Salvi says hello from Brussels. Hello, how you doing? So see, starting this conversation at noon Eastern Standard Time, I get the people from Europe, and I also get the people from the West Coast. So maybe Saturday at noon Eastern Time isn't the best time to have one of these, but who knows, you guys? I mean, let me know if you're more free on a Sunday. Maybe people are kind of lounging around. Maybe they're watching NFL or American football or European football, whatever. Just let me know. Alex Lee, are you watching Tesla stock? I'm definitely watching it. I'm not investing in it. I'm not going to dip my toe in the water. I'm a long-term investor. Tesla right now, it's one day it's going to be bankrupt. One day it's going to be, $500 a share. You just don't know. Especially when you have people influencing social media, talking about like, Elon Musk and, oh, buy it today, sell it tomorrow. I really don't know. It's too much of a roller coaster. So I think, bless you if you're right, bless you if you're wrong. But yeah, if you have any specific questions on Tesla, let me know. I think their product itself is a good product. I am a car guy, so I like combustible engines. I like engines that you can hear roar, that make your like soul vibrate. I mean, I've driven Teslas. They're cool. They're really fast. The technology is awesome. But I think maybe I'm just from a different generation or prefer a different type of car. But it's a great product. I think it's great for the environment. However, people never talk about disposing the batteries. So what happens after you have all these big batteries go bad? Tesla is just like any other thing. It's just like, it's like a cell phone. It's like, pretty much anything else that runs off a battery. Those things are not good for the environment. And I actually have an electric bicycle. I bike to work. So I do believe in electric technology. I just, batteries are messy. So let's see here. Baby says, baby meaning become a better you. The marijuana industry is here to stay. If you look at the charts for demand and compare that to the alcohol or tobacco industry, you'll see what I'm talking about. I very much agree. So yeah, that's a very good comment. Very insightful. Thank you. Lydia Santiago, my investment journey, says, hi, everyone. Hey, Lydia, how you doing? Thank you for joining again. Baby also says the most important stuff to look out for are globalization, vertical and horizontal diversification, and actual assets. That's true. When I created the course with Ryan Scribner about investing in marijuana stocks, there was a ton of companies going into Europe, going into South America. I know Uruguay, I think 2-3 years ago, they completely legalized recreational marijuana. Oh, we had another person sign up for the weekly stock email. Great, guys. Yeah, the link is below. Thank you for doing that. I should probably turn off those notifications during the stream because it's kind of distracting. So yes, yeah, it's definitely going to be a global product. It always has been. I mean, hemp and cannabis has been around everywhere, you guys. It's just a part of, culture, if you will. Some people, like European culture, is more alcohol, obviously. But, you go to South America, you go to, Mexico, you go to different places like that. I mean, marijuana is definitely a part of the culture. Jamaica, don't even have to talk about that. So yes, I do agree with you, baby. I'm not calling you baby. I'm calling you become a better you. My wife is my baby. You're just a really good loyal fan, I guess. So thank you. Proper 3D, it's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. Very well said. Whose quote is that? If it's yours, that's awesome. That's very insightful. And I completely agree. So again, the membership group, it's going to be, and I'm sorry if I keep plugging this, I'm just trying to give you my philosophy. It's going to be long-term hold. It's going to be blue chip stocks, value add stocks, intelligent investor kind of stocks. So if you guys haven't read Intelligent Investor, definitely check that out. It's a great book. That's Warren Buffett's philosophy. That's Jesse Livermore's philosophy. It's just the way that I invest. Let's see here. That's actually how I buy cars too. You got to find a nice car that's undervalued, and you find it from one owner who's kind of neglected it, bring it back up to shape, and then you can either flip it, drive it for free, or whatever. I've done that with a lot of my own cars. David Wynn, any thoughts on Facebook, Google, and Amazon on upcoming earnings reports? So those three stocks, they got beat up a little bit, especially over the past week and a half. I did recommend Facebook as one of my stocks to buy for October. So yeah, that one didn't pan out, but it's such a short-term horizon that you can't really judge me off a month, you guys. That's not fair. So Facebook, I think that they have so many avenues of revenue, or potential huge avenues of revenue. To answer your question specifically about the earnings, I mean, that's a good question, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know a lot of other stocks were crushing it over earnings. I know Netflix killed it last week. A lot of companies did very well. So Facebook in general, the reason I like them is because of WhatsApp. They haven't monetized that, but I just know they're harvesting everyone's data. Like, that's inevitable, you guys. They're probably selling that to the CIA, to the government. I use WhatsApp every day, and they know everything about me. They can probably hear me talking right now. So let me take my tinfoil hat off. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm gonna turn this around. It's kind of like blocking my face. So Facebook, they have WhatsApp, they have Oculus, they have so many different ways to monetize outside of just their ad revenue and their actual Facebook platform. I think they're here to stay, but who knows? I'll be honest with you guys. I deleted my Facebook in 2013. So that tells you something. And I think more and more older people are getting on there, and people that are younger, like, they don't want to be hanging out with their parents on Facebook. Like, they want to have their own private social media presence. So who knows? We'll see. Let's see here. Sorry, I lost my place here. Autumn Meadows says, thank you so much. I'll try to follow you as you seem knowledgeable and pleasant. Thank you very much. I think my wife and my mom would agree. Knowledgeable, I don't know. Pleasant, maybe. I think I was raised well. Let's see here. Strict Eastern European parents. So Roku, good question, Lydia. And I apologize. I'm not an encyclopedia of stocks here. So unless I'm investing in the company, I'll be honest with you guys, I do follow some, but if I'm not invested in it directly, I'll tell you straight up, I'm going to be completely transparent with my audience. So I do not follow Roku, but if I'm looking over the 1-year horizon, it looks like something popped off in November of 2017, where the stock went from $19 to $38, which is pretty insane. And it climbed for a little bit and then started to decline throughout 2018. And now it's climbing its way back up in October and just pretty much crashed. So if that's a stock that you follow, enlighten us. Feel free to add a comment in the chat here. Just looking at that from a very high level, I don't know why the stock was crashing, but that could be a quick swing trade, if you will. You see the potential. It's climbing, and then all of a sudden it peaks off. I don't know what will cause that, but that could be an opportunity to buy back in. Let's see. Aravind Kumar, love all your videos. Love from India, 10 p.m. here. There you go. That's why I stream at 12 p.m. Eastern, because we have people all over the world watching Whiteboard Finance. Thank you so much, Aravind. That really means a lot to me. I love Indian food. Sometimes I order it too spicy, and then I'm paying for it the next day. But that's me. I know what I'm getting into when I do it, but I can't stop. So System Deadlock is saying LOL. Maybe it's something for what I said earlier. David Wynn said that's Buffett's wisdom. Proper 3D. Warren. Yep, absolutely. Warren Buffett. I'll tell you what, guys. He did not fall for hype. He did not fall for social media hype. A, because there wasn't social media when he was young. But B, the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of stuff, you can see it with crypto. I'm not saying crypto is bad. I think crypto is a great potential future currency, just not right now in 2018. But I will say that crypto is great. However, you saw the hype with Bitcoin. I was following Bitcoin in 2012, 2013, and it just did the hockey stick, you guys. It just freaking exploded. It was insane. It went from like $4,000, which I thought was insane, to like 25 last summer. So it's cooled off now. Will I get back into it? Who knows? I just think that, social media plays a big role in what a lot of stocks have been doing, especially the popular ones like tech stocks. Let's see. For cars, I love Tacoma. Tacoma, that thing will last you forever. Toyota's indestructible. Those are bulletproof. Italian Eddie Ralph, Alibaba stock. So this came up last week. Let me get to my proprietary software here. Alibaba. Good question. Okay. So Alibaba was pretty much up almost 1% at day's end on October. It's trading at $142.93. All the analysts that I see here, 13 of them are recommending it as a buy. 0 are recommending it as a hold, and 0 are recommending it as a sell. So it looks like their target price, get this, you guys, for Alibaba is $227.08. That's a 58.8% upside through October of 2019. The high is 270, some are predicting. The average is 227 and the low is 195. So I know Jack Ma stepped down recently, but it's a good company, man. I mean, when I was a young buck, dude, when I was like in my teens, I was on Alibaba looking at all types of stuff to resell. I was, in high school, going into college, and Alibaba had a lot of cool stuff on it. And they're almost like the world's marketplace. They connect the cheap Chinese manufacturers. And I don't mean cheap as a derogatory word. I mean low cost manufacturing to the Western world. So I think that's pretty cool. So Alibaba is definitely here to stay. Based on those target prices and what those analysts are saying, it looks like it's a buy, but I'm not speaking for me. I'm just relaying that information. Let's see here. I'm sorry, guys. I look like a scrub here. I came from the gym and I'm going to get a beard trim and a haircut. So that's why, I'm wearing a hat because I'm going straight to the barber after this. So yeah, I appreciate you guys sticking with me even when I look like a scrub. Who likes the fireplace in the background? How cool is that, dude? Come on, give me some props for that. I live in Cleveland, Ohio. It's getting cold. I got the fireplace going, talking stocks. I love it, guys. So let's continue the conversation here. Alibaba, okay. Become a better you. Talking about cars. I own a smart Roadster built in 2005. There are only 40,000 made. Now there's only 20,000 in rotation. So it's more of an investment. Keep telling yourself that cars are usually not investments, but I will say that you got to catch the wave. Classic cars you can make a lot of money on. My dad just flipped a Porsche 911, bought it for 21 grand, had 7 grand into it. So he owned it for $28,000, owned it for 5 years, drove it, enjoyed it, sold it on Bring a Trailer for $50,500. And my dad is just a regular dude. We are not like a wealthy family by any stretch of the imagination. My parents are immigrants. So there's definitely money to be made in cars. Let's see here. Proper 3D. Facebook is one internal email leak exposing voting influence from a 50% drop. Very true. There's a lot of political influence on Facebook. Whether you guys are more left-wing, right-wing, Trump, Hillary, whatever, it doesn't matter in my opinion. This is not a political channel. Social media absolutely influences elections. You look at, Alex Jones getting banned at the same time from all the different social media platforms. He was very right-wing, and obviously these tech platforms are left-wing, being in California, Silicon Valley, and all that. But I'm not going to talk about my personal politics on the channel, but yeah, Facebook definitely is one internal email away from a 50% drop. You're right in saying that. Way too political, correct. Even Google with James Damore, if you guys remember that whole Google memo, that was pretty interesting as well. What do I think of Boeing and Lockheed Martin? Boeing is a good stock. Lockheed Martin, I will not invest in just due to my personal morals and beliefs. We talked about this last week. I do not invest in the defense sector because I do not believe in what those companies do. I do not want to profit off of death. So I'll just tell you guys straight up, that's how I feel. Whether you like it or not, I don't really care. So I will not profit off of death. And that's kind of why I sold my position in Altria, big tobacco. Let's see, Boeing's solid. Let's see here. Let's see what the analysts have to say about Boeing. I know they pay a nice little dividend as well. So Boeing right now is at $356 a share. So 8 analysts are saying it's a buy, 2 are saying it's a hold, and their target price is $431 a share over the next year with a 21% upside. So keep in mind, these are just forecasts, you guys. No one has a crystal ball. Otherwise, they'd be bajillionaires. So Boeing seems to be a good stock. I know it's had its ups and downs in the past, but they produce a good product. They produce engines for Rolls-Royce. They produce engines for planes. Obviously, they have a lot of contracts in the defense field. So yeah, Boeing is a solid company. Salvi 236, I'd be curious to know if you perform any technical analysis before you invest, and if so, which indicators do you use? I use support and resistance, moving average, and RSI. So technical analysis is something that I've delved into when I was younger. It's kind of one of those things that you're interested in when you're young. I'm too old for that stuff now, man. Like I don't have enough time. I have a wife, I have friends, I have soccer, I have a job, an 8 to 5. So I just don't have time for it. Some people swear by technical analysis with the cup and handle and all that stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest, you guys. I mean, yes, media and things, and there's other factors like news and earnings and all that that absolutely influence the stock price. But me, again, I'm a value investor. I look for a 3 to 5 year hold, if not longer. Sometimes I'll swing trade, as I mentioned earlier, but technical analysis for me, I don't practice it. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it or I'm not against it. It's just not me. It's a different flavor for everybody, and that's not my favorite flavor. So let's see. Lydia says Roku went public on September 2017 and it went up a lot. Every earnings, they do really well. They exceed expectations. So after earnings, it does well. Since it's new, people get scared. Okay, that could very well be the case. And thank you for sharing that. I'll have to take a deeper look into Roku. Thank you, Lydia. So David Wynn, Apple is currently Buffett's largest holding. He normally holds stock for 10 years or more. Will you hold Apple for 5 to 10 years? Absolutely. I'm streaming this from a MacBook right now. I'm not Apple fanboy. This is a Samsung, which in my opinion, Samsung makes better phones than Apple. Please don't unsubscribe, please. It's just my opinion. But I have, my wife has an iPhone. We have had iPads. I've had iPads in the past. I think Apple in general, they make a product that is good, but their marketing is best in class, if that makes sense. So I know that I'm never going to get a virus with the MacBook. I know that it integrates seamlessly with all my other Apple products, which I like. From a phone perspective, I just think Samsung's always been ahead of the game, whether people want to admit that or not, whatever. But yeah, I will absolutely hold Apple. They're cash rich. They've put out a good product every year. Whether it's best in class, it doesn't matter because people are loyal. They've built up a loyal fan base, which I'm trying to do with WhiteBoard Finance, which is why I'm doing these live streams. So tell a friend, please. I work really hard at this channel. Okay, so good question. Thank you, David. Italian Eddie, thank you. Lydia, you have a very nice living room. Thank you very much. This living room was remodeled by hand by my father and my mother, and I obviously helped, but this was mostly my dad. My dad is a freaking genius. He has golden hands. Whatever he touches turns to gold. He's just awesome. I mean, I can show you guys. He did the ceiling, TV, fireplace. Hold on, let me actually take this off that's where WhiteBoard Finance is filmed. You see that? That's right. We got the fireplace, nice ceiling. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. Now let's see if I can get this thing back on without breaking it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so thank you for that. Fireplace looks great. Is that a condo? No, it is not. It is a house. It is a home. So let's see. What about Tesla? I mentioned this earlier. Bless you if you invest in Tesla. Bless you if you don't. Some people say it's going to zero. Some people think it's going to be, the future. So who knows? Baby, is there any way to hit you up anywhere on social media? Yeah, Instagram, guys. Sorry, I keep forgetting to plug my Instagram. WhiteBoard Finance. That's all you have to type in on Instagram. That's me. Sometimes I share personal pictures. Sometimes I share video thumbnails. I like to goof around on Instagram. It's not going to be one of those corny accounts that you follow and it says, turn your dreams into reality. And it's a picture of a Lamborghini. Like, come on, guys. Let's, really. So it's just me. If you guys want to follow me for me and get to know me as a person, great. If not, great too. It doesn't matter. So let's see. Baby, yes, answer your question. Thank you. Do I trade Forex? So good question, Alex. No, I do not. Forex, again, just like technical analysis, it's one of those things that I was interested when I was younger. Younger meaning like, late high school, early college. And in my opinion, pardon my French, I think it's a lot of bull crap. You can definitely make a lot of money, but those markets are so influenced by so many factors that the little guy will have no say in ever. That's global stuff, dude. So if you invest in it and you make money, great. Keep doing you, man. I support you. But no, I do not trade Forex. There's just too many factors that the little guy will never know about. It's too controlled, too manipulated, in my opinion. Proper 3D. Alex Lee is the real Trayvon James. Okay, don't know what that means, but good. Maybe I'm too old. Aravind Kumar, you are burning fire inside, cold outside, but here in India, AC cooling inside, sun burning outside. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Um, yeah, Cleveland is cold. India is not cold. Elvis Hidalgo, Tesla stock. Okay. Okay, you already asked that. Maybe caps lock will help. And since you're just saying Tesla stock in all caps, I will not answer that. Proper 3D, news will always rule price over charts. Very true. Very true. I believe so. I think with social media and with all the news, whether it's fake news, whether it's fake or not, doesn't matter. It could be a form of propaganda. You don't know. So yeah, news will always affect the stock prices. Alex Lee is laughing, so that must have been a funny reference that I don't get. Salvi, there are rumors that Uber and Airbnb will IPO at some point next year. That is true. I think Uber is valued at like 120 billion with a B. That's freaking insane. Would I consider investing in these? So I will say that whenever you're a company that's top of mind, like Uber is, I mean, it's top of class, man. I don't even consider using Lyft. I don't even have the Lyft app. I'm not saying that Lyft is a bad app, or some people drive for Uber, some people drive for Lyft, some people drive for both. I wouldn't even consider Lyft just because Uber is so top of mind. Hey, we need a ride? Let's go, Uber. You know, that's just what you think of. So I just think it's pretty interesting, you guys. Your parents used to tell you, don't talk to strangers and don't get into strangers' cars. Now we are literally calling strangers from our phones to give us a ride. So that's funny how that paradigm shifts. I think humans, we're going through a huge explosion in technology and the way life is changing. Like, I'm communicating to people all over the world right now from my living room. I think it's pretty cool. So to answer your question, maybe I'll consider investing in Uber. Airbnb, that can so easily be disrupted and so easily be outlawed. I mean, I know Uber can too, but I don't know. I mean, Airbnb, I mean, there's VRBO, there's just so many websites that do what they do. It's like, I don't know. When I think of ride sharing, I think of Uber. They have the infrastructure, they have the customer service, they have everything. Airbnb, it's great. I use it all the time. I've traveled the entire world using Airbnb, but I think it's more easily disruptible. And also with Uber getting into autonomous cars and autonomous driving, I mean, I'm telling you guys, I mean, that could be the future there. Let's see here. Baby says, just sent you a DM. Hit me up. Will do, buddy. Thank you for hitting me up, and thank you for chatting and supporting the channel. So I will say I got a haircut at 1:30 Eastern. So that gives us about, I'd say 12 more minutes on this stream. Any questions, anything else you guys want to talk about? Let's get to the hour mark, guys. That's a goal that I'm trying to hit on these live streams, trying to, get to an hour. Let's see, any other subjects? Now that I have more people in the chat, I don't know if you guys saw this earlier, Mega Millions is at $1.6 billion. So A, what stock would you invest in if you won $1.6 billion? Two, what would you do if you won $1.6 billion? So I'll give you guys 30 seconds here just to see what your guys' thoughts are on that. Okay, let's see here. Lydia Santiago says, we sue Uber every day for auto accidents. They have a lot of liabilities, but their business model is smart. That's true. I mean, all it takes, I know one of their cars, killed someone. I don't think they were at fault. I need to reread the article. But Lydia, if you don't mind me asking, what company do you work for, or what do you do that you are involved with suing Uber every day? I think that their business model is smart. I know the old CEO maybe kind of misran the company, but we'll see what happens here in the future. I'll tell you guys what I would do with $1.6 billion. I'd quit my job, obviously, and then I'd dedicate all my time to WhiteBoard Finance. I think what we're doing here, you guys, is great. I think teaching financial education, the stock market, real estate, all that stuff. I think a lot more people need to learn about financial literacy. I think there's a lot of people out there who just don't know. They don't know what they don't know, how finance works and things like that. So that's my mission here, you guys. Is to create wealth for you, is to create a better future for you. I'm at the point in my life where I got married last year. I'm looking to, start a family. And that's what you think about. You think about your legacy, you think about your future. And I want to help you guys with that in your own personal life. Amazon quarter 3 prediction, is Prime Day reflected in this quarter? Those are good questions. So Prime Day is usually in the summer when e-commerce is the slowest. So I need to look up the exact date, so I don't know the answer to that if it's reflected in this quarter. But Amazon predictions, Amazon's crushing it. I mean, who knows? They have to pull back at some point, but just the way that they're integrating themselves into everybody's life is just excellent. I mean, they're trying to get into pharmaceutical prescriptions now. They're trying to do food delivery. They're trying to do with Whole Foods acquisition, grocery store. So they're getting you from the whole circle of life, like from when you're born to, when you decease. Maybe Amazon will start getting into caskets or something, whatever. So I don't want to get too morbid on the channel, but Amazon has absolutely integrated themselves in every aspect of people's lives. And I think they're not stopping. Who knows, like what the future could be with like drone delivery and stuff like that. I know the federal, FAA, like the Airline Administration or whatever the acronym stands for. I mean, I know they talk about drones and stuff like that, but dude, it's Amazon, it's Bezos. Okay. Like he'll get it done. Let's see, Lydia, they have $1 million policies. I work at a huge law firm in LA. Great. Okay. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you for elaborating. If I win the lotto, I would invest in weed stocks. Okay. that could be a good use of funds, but I wouldn't I wouldn't go 100% all in. I'd definitely diversify a little bit. Salvi says, I would invest 50%, open a gym, as I have a passion for bodybuilding and traveling. That's awesome. That is very cool to hear. I love that entrepreneurial spirit. I would also give some of the wealth to charities. That's awesome. I'm very philanthropic myself. If I won that lottery, that's a good point. I was talking about this to my coworkers yesterday. I would definitely open up some sort of like scholarship, whether it's with my church or whatever, just to create kind of like a financial aid scholarship so people can go to school. Do I think that everyone should go to college? Absolutely not. There's a ton of people that I know who are very crafty with their hands, or just blue collar work, which is very respectable, and they shouldn't and they don't need to go to college. But I think financial education would maybe a better use of that funds. So I think that'd be pretty cool, you guys. I'm looking to find ideas to make a passive income. In the beginning, Salvi, there's no such thing as passive income. You need to either invest in dividend stocks, create a rental portfolio of commercial real estate, maybe own some retail, who knows? But, oh, look at Nate O'Brien. What's up, buddy? Fireplace is cranking. Yeah, dude, there's another East Sider right there. East Coast Philly in the house. Nate O'Brien. What's up, everybody? If you don't follow Nate, go give him a follow. He's got, I believe, 41,000 subscribers now. Nate is a good dude. Him and I talk offline every once in a while, and he's a really good guy. I can tell you that. I can attest to his character. And hopefully, he feels the same way about me. Passive income, Salvi, there's no such thing as passive income. You need money to make money, or you need to put the legwork or the effort up front. That's what people are trying to achieve with, their careers. You're trading your time for money. Why not do that with finances? Why not have a dividend portfolio paying you every quarter, every month, biannually, whatever? Why not have, sorry, my phone's vibrating. Sorry if you can hear that, you guys. Why not have a rental portfolio of rental properties where people pay you to live in your house? They're paying down your mortgage. So you're paying off the mortgage and getting paid for them to be your tenant. That's how you build wealth. Are those businesses necessarily passive? If you're managing the properties yourself, probably not. But if you grow to a large enough scale with rental properties, you can hire a manager and they can take care of a lot of the day-to-day operations for you. So how does the stream look, you guys? This is only my second time streaming, and the audio as well. I hope everything looks good. I invested some money in a camera for you guys. Excuse me, a microphone, camera. I got a light up here right above me. I'm just trying to make this the best quality channel possible. Aravind says, you're looking very good, but if you remove your hat, you'll be awesome. Love your hair. You can also do a hairstyle channel. This dude's hilarious. This guy's killing it. I mentioned earlier, the only reason I have a hat is because I'm literally going to the barber shop like right after this live stream. So I don't like to go there with gel on my hair. I just want him to do his thing on my hair. So I do have, knock on wood, I do have good hair. My grandpa has good hair. My dad has good hair. The reason I'm talking about that is because you got that Slavic testosterone. You know what I mean? We're very hairy people. So, Eastern European testosterone. Um, so everyone, thank you so much for joining. We got about 5 minutes left in this stream. Any questions? Anything that you guys want to hear from me? I know I have a live audience here, so I want to be respectful of your time and mine. If you haven't already, take a look at the link in the description below. That is just a free weekly email that you guys will get from me. It's talking about a stock that I'm looking at or analyzing at a high level, what I think the target price will be, what I think the story of the company is. Take a look at that link in the description below and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you, Dan. Dan says it's good. Thank you. So I believe he's commenting on the quality of the camera and the audio. Thank you so much. Joey Schmoey, YouTube. Joey Schmoey. I like that name. I feel bear market is here and recession is coming. Time to sell stocks and hold cash. What is your favorite stock of all time? Those are both good comments and good questions. So I appreciate that. Let me touch on what is your favorite stock of all time first. So I'll say that my Vanguard Growth Fund, it's an ETF. The ticker symbol is VUG, like Victor, underground, G for growth. VUG has done very well for me over the past like 8-9 years. I believe I started investing in it after the recession, and the thing is just freaking skyrocketed, man. So VUG is definitely my favorite ETF, favorite stock. If I had to give a favorite stock, it's got to be the Whiteboard Finance fan favorite of Microsoft. Pays a good dividend, solid company, well run under the CEO Satya Nadella. I think he's doing a great job. I used to work for a big Microsoft reseller, so I know the product line inside and out. Salvi says, love Eastern Europe, respect. That's where my family's from. I love Microsoft and I love VUG. Joey Schmoey talking about, I feel the bear market is here. You could be right. There's definitely a recession. Not recession. Sorry, I misspoke. Correction. There's definitely a correction going on over the past couple weeks. October is notoriously bearish, so keep that in mind. But I don't know if you could sell stocks and hold cash, but keep in mind, if that's your strategy, buy stuff when it's on sale, man. I think if you really do believe in your philosophy of there being a recession or a bear market coming, sell everything, hold cash and then reinvest once everything's on sale. So what I'm going to focus on is on value investing, and I'm going to share my portfolio in my membership group. I'm going to talk about all the different things that are going on in the market and the stocks that I'm looking at for a long-term horizon. So this could actually be a great buying opportunity. So I think the worse the market does over the next few months could be an excellent opportunity for myself and my subscribers. So Joey Schmoy wants capital preservation on 401k. That's smart. Lydia asks, why is October bearish? That's a very good question. October is notoriously bearish, and I don't know why. I know there's a lot of different factors that people talk about, but off the top of my head, let's see. Why is October bad for stocks? Let's see here. So it's called the October effect. Let me just read this off verbatim real quick. The October effect is a theory that stocks tend to decline during the month of October. The October effect is considered mainly to be a psychological expectation rather than an actual phenomenon, as most statistics go against the theory. Some investors may be nervous during October because the dates of some large historical market crashes occurred during this month. The events that have given October the reputation for stock losses have happened over decades, but they include Panic of 1907, Black Tuesday in 1929, Black Thursday of 1929, Black Monday of 1929. This was before the Great Depression, and Black Monday 1987. So the Dow plummeted 22.6% on Black Monday of 1987. So I think that's pretty interesting. So again, you guys, this is why I talk about technical analysis and things like that and long-term trading, because there's so many factors that affect people's psychology, their emotions. If you follow some of the other bigger finance channels here on YouTube, they're buying one stock one day, selling it the other day. What are you doing? That's not investing. That's just being an emotional swing trader, in my opinion. So ultimately, it could be psychological. That's a huge psychological factor. Salvi says, have a Vanguard ETF, VUSA, which tracks the S&P 500. That's great. Over the past 9 years, that has done well. I guarantee that. Aravind says, living room is awesome, but without you, it's not perfect. Okay. Thank you. Joey Schmoy says, Red October. That's right. The hunt for Red October. And with that being said, you guys, we're coming up on an hour right now. Thank you so much for joining me. I do have to go run and get my hair cut. I put a lot of time and effort into this channel. Please tell a friend about it. Please share the channel with your friends. It means a lot to me. I know I went on a break for about 5 months. I had some deaths in the family. I had a lot of stuff going on. I was traveling. I'm trying to get the big wheel turning again. I'm trying to get this channel more and more popular. In my opinion, I know this is easy for me to say because it's my channel. I think it's an underrated channel. I think I have a finance degree. I've worked in finance. I've worked in commercial real estate. I have the credibility and the credentials that a lot of these other finance channels do not have. So I'm not being arrogant. I'm just telling you the facts. So if you want to take it from someone who works for a huge regional bank here in the Midwest, who's worked for a real estate developer, who owns their own real estate, I'm the person to watch. So I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just being confident because I know what I know. So sign up below, sign up for the weekly stock group. It's free. I'll send you a stock every week. And thank you so much for joining, you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.